When From Software announced that at the E3 that its next game will be published by Activision, the industry raised a collective eyebrows in curiosity. Although they may seem like an odd bedfellows given each company's respective strengths, the collaboration is unlikely to be anything other than success. The acclaimed Japanese developer has built a large and dedicated following with its lineup of dark and notoriously difficult titles, from Demon's Souls to Bloodborne, and that have been lauded as some of the most artistically accomplished games of the past decade. A trending it seeks to continue with the Sekiro Shadow Die Twice. Activision, meanwhile, has a primarily focus on productivity of charts of topping blockbuster games like Call of Duty and Destiny, or more familiar-friendly titles like Crash Bandicoot, Sane Trilogy, and the now defunct of the Skylanders franchise. It's hard to see where a company like From Software, with its particular brand of difficulty, atmospheric, and often distressing games, fits into the Activision's pantheon. But the producer Robert Conke, or Conke, hopefully I'm not butchering the name, told GamesIndustry.biz at Gamescom this year, when a From Software knocks on your door and says, "Hey, we want to make a game," you only have one answer, right? It speaks to the pulling power that developer like From Software has at its own disposal despite its relatively small size, while games like Dark Souls and Bloodborne have risen above the cult status of the president Hidetaka Miyazaki earlier work of the Demon's Souls, and they aren't exactly the multi-billion-dollar properties that usually ignite Activision's interest. What's more curious still is that From Software opted not to continue its relationship with Sony, despite having enjoyed considerable success with both Demon's Souls and Bloodborne, developed exclusively for PlayStation. The same goes for the studio's relationship with Bandai Namco, which secured the lucrative of the publishing rights to the Dark Souls franchise, spinning it out into the 3 games, several batches of DLC, comics, merchandise, and even a board game. So initially, when we had this project proposed, we took its number of the companies, explained From Software, community manager Yasuhiro Kitao. We don't have the clout to publish outside of the Asia and Japan, and so Activision was one of the companies we approached and one of the companies who said they would like to talk. And they absolutely loved the idea. They loved the project right from the start. They really respected our vision, and also along the way they were able to provide user testing and feedback that we simply can't handle it. It was really beneficial. The project in question, Sekiro Shadow Die Twice, almost began life in an installment into the Tenchu franchise, a property to which From Software does own the right, but quickly outgrew the concept. When we originally set out to create something different from the Dark Souls and our previous titles, we thought it would be interesting to make a Japanese-themed game, Kitao adds. Somewhat that we started going in the direction of shinobi and ninjas, and of course Tenchu was an IP with that history. That was the original impetus for this project. But as we developed and as we partnered with Activision, we started building it together and started becoming its own thing, and the game we wanted to make was no longer just Tenchu, so it really evolved into its own thing. When previously asked about the extent of the Activision's involvement with the project, Miyazaki has stated that From Software handles everything after the start screen, and it was stance that Conke echoed during the interview. Activision marketing director Michel Fonseca added, "We're obviously providing them with a number of resources, whether it's the financial or just the infrastructural that we have. We know how to take big games to market. We know how to publish and market these games in the Western market. And with the Eastern side, so using these resources helps to get the game in as many games' hands as possible. That's what we're here to do for these guys." But given the gulf of style between From Software and Activision, it raises the questions if this marks a departure from the status quo for the publisher, and whether it will begin exploring more experimental and artistic projects in the future. While Activision staff presents during the interview remaining closed on that front with their carefully curated answer, Fonseca said, This is rounding out our portfolio in a new and interesting way, and I think we're going to take back learning from it, and then we'll see.